Welcome to Crossing Darkness, a podcast about gaming that normally focuses on the world of darkness. However, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite video games, EVE Online, a science fiction spaceship MMORPG. In this game, you become an immortal pod pilot who can control some of the most powerful ships in all of the galaxy. Activities include market manipulation, spaceship combat with player versus player and player versus the environment. You can do mining, exploration, empire building, pirating, and much, much more. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and today we have a very special guest, Yuuki, who is here to tell us about her experiences in the crazy online galaxy of EVE Online. How's space treating you these days, Yuuki?
Well, pretty good. I just got back in the game, so the welcome was pretty warm. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. So how long have you been playing EVE?
10 years solid, almost 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So definitely quite a bit of experience inside of the game at this point in time. So what are some of the activities? What's the life of Yuuki in EVE Online? How'd you all start? I guess starting from the beginning.
Yuuki started, she was privileged to begin with, because my partner has been playing EVE for much longer than I have. So when I got started, I had pretty much everything I wanted at hand. I didn't need to follow the tutorials. I got to choose. I was given a character with millions of skill points, so flying expensive ships was not a problem. I got to pick a ship to begin with, and I chose a Machariel.
Oh, very good ship.
So yeah, I started the game running missions, essentially in high sec, until it all went down the can real quick, because we got ganked and exploited. And that's when I decided, let's try nullsec. And we went to Delve.
Oh, okay. So what year did you go to Delve in?
To Delve, I had the privilege to fly with Bob at the time.
Oh, okay. So is this World War or World? What is that? The first war, that the Great War. That's it. Was it the first Great War or the second Great War, or in between?
That was after that. That was the aftermath of that Great War.
Okay, so after
they got disbanded, reformed, and at the time I think they were called Evolution, and that's when I joined in, and I stayed there for a couple of years. Then went back to nullsec, to highsec, where I met a bunch of scammers who taught me the tricks. Like I don't know if those are familiar to some, but people like Boom Boom, Long Time, Spaceship Barbie, and so on were the characters that I met really in game and got to know. They taught me the tricks of the trade, how to scam. I never really did it, but I learned tons through those people. So that was cool. So I hung out in a MAR for a few years, selling expired BPO copies for a lot of money. It was fun for a while until I decided to return to nullsec, because this is the place that is in fact the safest in the game, as long as you have buddies around and good corp and
yeah, if you own space
and firmly installed there. Yeah,
absolutely. It's one of those predominantly interesting things that at the beginning of the game you definitely think that highsec is safe because there's the quote-unquote NPC police that'll come and save you. But man, when you learn what it's like to own your own space and what safety really is, when you don't need to see a neutral for days, it's a beautiful sight. You know, it's a beautiful feeling.
It is. I mean, I've flown through nullsec many times for many hours, and the space is virtually empty.
Oh my god, it feels like it's extremely empty when you are out there looking for anything to go kill or do or anything. You know, if you've got a gang, you got anything, it's the most empty space in all of the galaxy. But if you're a newbie and the first time you jump in, it's like what, F7, or it's low sec or whatever that you jump into, but you just get blown up. It's so populated by all these PvPers that are just gonna kill me, and it's like you just got unlucky, man. There's a very
Yeah.
high likelihood that you could fly out, and if you didn't go through the main entrance that everybody camps and everybody knows is camped,
Oh yeah, that happened to me. My first jump in low sec was I died. I died real bad, and I got made fun of and got teabagged. Like essentially, that's what happened. And to this day, I don't like low sec. I think it happened in Old Man Star
I love Old
at
Man
the time.
Star.
Yeah.
That's my stomping ground. My original living was just outside of Do-Dixie. What is it called? Anyways, it's right around Do-Dixie, and then I
Minare?
ended up living. What was it?
Minare?
No. Well, there was one of the main areas that I lived out of was actually Losec, which was Hain. It's just like there's a pocket of Losec that's surrounded by high sec, that then is another pocket that's just a pocket of high sec surrounded by low sec. So it's like
Oh,
high
right.
sec,
Yeah.
low sec, high sec,
Yeah.
low sec.
Yeah, I think I know where it is. Long story short, I to this day, I don't like low sec, and I do think this is the most dangerous space in the game. Like null sec in comparison is so tame and empty, and it does feel safe, way safer than low sec and high sec for that matter. High sec is a lie.
High sec is a lie. High sec is a total lie. I think high sec is the most dangerous because it's a total lie, and that's one of my strongest beliefs. I'm a very strongly a low sec type kind of player. Even when I was in in 0.0, I do like fleets with people, and I do ratting out in 0.0. But if I wanted to go have fun, I'd go to low sec. That's where I hung out
Oh, yeah,
all the
definitely.
time, because I'm a solo PvPer, trying to be a solo PvP, a crappy solo PvPer.
Absolutely. If you're a solo PvPer, that's the place for you. That's the best place for solo PvP, that's for sure.
So have you been involved in a lot of the aspects of the PvP or PvE industry? Like, what have you been doing while you've been kind of jumping around to, you were, all out with Evolution? Were you involved in the war quite a bit, or wars that happened out in 0.0, or were you a different
Not at all.
focus?
Not at all. What I did, well, it was post-war, so not much happened at the time, and the space was still, Delve at the time was still quiet before it was taken over. But lots of PvE, lots of ratting, lots and lots of ratting for sure. I never mind, never will. Not my thing. Did PvP mostly in fleets. I tried PvP solo, but it didn't work very well because I don't like killing people. Why do I play Eve and don't like killing people? I don't know. But I'm way better in fleet than I am solo, that's for sure. But PvP isn't. I do enjoy it once in a while, but that's not the thing that really drags me back to the game. Mostly it's the visuals. Like honestly, if I really have to say something, I love being in space, cloaked somewhere, explore, camp, and watch the background. It's just beautiful. Aesthetically, it's very appealing to me, and that's probably why I keep playing it.
It is an unbelievably aesthetic game that can easily become completely unaesthetic, based upon what you are doing or what your needs are at the time. It's like, I find myself, because when I stream EVE Online, I always find myself thinking in my head, get in close, watch what's going on with your ship, make it look cool, make sure you've got a view of the ship, get over to somebody else when they're attacking. I can do it in PvE, I can jump over and start getting good camera angles and thinking about that. As soon as PvP happens, my mind immediately shoots to pull that camera all the way the fuck back out, care nothing about the visuals, and concentrate everything onto what I am trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you turn it into potato mode and the usual squares, red and orange and purple squares instead of the visuals. That's essential for PvP. Otherwise, it's chaos. You don't see what's happening. I agree.
Yep. No,
But
and
when I'm on my own, which I often am, 'cause I like to be left in my corner and do my own thing now in nullsec. I do enjoy like looking at the scenery. That's for sure.
so a lot of the game for you is kind of just going out, hanging out. Are you involved with a lot of the community at all? Did you do any streaming for Eve at all, or any kind of activities that kind of branched out into the community, or was it just primarily just kind of chilling out and just kind of existing in Eve and having a lot of just stories that you kind of were taking part in?
At this point in time, yeah, it's just chilling out. Before that, I was much more invested, and I made a couple of solid real life friends in the process to whom I still talk to. But yeah, it was a question of building keep stars and taking parts of bigger wars like the one that's happening right now. I did that for a while, but essentially what drags me back to it is again the fact that I can be alone in my own space and do what I want and not be bothered, or rarely be bothered anyway.
Yep, doing a lot of your own activities, your own exploration, and like you said, just exploring. That's kind of cool. That's awesome. Because that's a lot of I think that's a lot of Eve players. Is that just a lot of people who just want to play Eve? They'll PvP, they'll do the thing, but they also wanna just do their own thing.
Yeah, as far as streaming it, I've never done it. I could, but I only got to know Twitch last year when I was not playing Eve. So in the future, I might stream like some exploration, but not sure yet.
Yeah, what's some of the stuff that you do on Twitch,
Again, I've got
or that you've done on, or are you still
Um,
twitching, or?
yeah, once in a blue moon, I stream. We were talking about costume making and stuff like that. So I was streaming in the makers and crafting section of Twitch, showing sewing or painting or more artistic stuff. Really, not Eve.
Yeah,
Although I do watch Eve players on Twitch a lot.
So do you have like a YouTube channel as well for, or is it purely just live streaming that you only do, no recording?
Yeah.
Oh,
No YouTube. I don't want to be on YouTube.
Understandable. Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's definitely really awesome. Is there any other like video games that you're interested in as well, and stuff that that are similar, or is this your like primary video game that you play?
That's the one for now. Before Eve, I was playing a game that was called Alien Adoption Agency, which was all text-based. It was in the early 2000s. I played it for, I don't know, 4 years. And then after that, I got acquainted with Eve, and I totally dumped AAA and started playing Eve because it was a lot prettier. And I'm all about pretty.
Yeah, text-based gaming.
That's the thing I enjoy enormously: the ship designs, the skins, the costumes, the clothing, the backgrounds in space, everything that has an interest design-wise. I will be right on it and look at it for hours and try to replicate it. And as I said before, like I even tried to replicate some of the garments on Eve characters. Eventually, well, the goal would be to go to Iceland and in a costume like Space Pope.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be super awesome to have at one of the fan fests at Iceland. That would be sweet. So, is there any memorable?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people cosplay there too.
Oh
to a
yeah.
degree, anyway.
Oh yeah. Do you have any memorable stories at all? Anything that you can remember that kind of sticks out as being like, this was my Pinnacle Eve experience that just made me, when I think of Eve, I think of this experience.
Yep, and I can tell you all about it. It was epic. That was about week 1 of Eve for me. My partner set me up with a battleship. He was flying a Paladin at the time. Gave me a fully fitted Mercurial to run a level 4. Was it a level 5 missions at the time? I can't recall, but it was at least a level 4. So off we go on that mission, and it was a pretty tough one. And what he forgot, because he was a little rusty as well, is that you don't run smart bombs in high sec. You don't do that. And here we go, running our smart bombs in the middle of the site, trying to get rid of all those little pesky drones here and there. And what we didn't see coming is that a guy, I forget his name, he warped into us cloaked while our smart bombs were running in high sec. Boom goes the Pally, boom goes the Mercurial. I find myself in a pod, and typical question: did I level? In all honesty, I had no idea what just happened, but the guy found he had a great exploit, and he did us concorded. He got us concorded, and just had to stay on site and pick up the loot. And my partner in Spally, he had some of those very rare officer mods in it, like worth billions of ISK.
Oh no.
So we just watched him in our pod sitting there having a big old WTF moment while he was picking up billions of loot. I'm pretty sure the guy boasted on it on Reddit like right away, and to this day, I'm pretty sure he's laughing about it because that was such an epic fail. That was amazing, and I was like, I was in Eve for a week or less. Like that was probably my fifth day of Eve, and that happens, and I was like, what do I do? Do I quit? I'm very embarrassed, and I really didn't know what to do. And so my partner told me, "Don't worry about it. It's my own fault. I totally forgot about smart bombs, high sec, and whatnot." And it's a whole bunch of pixels after all. So thankfully, I got over it real quick. But that moment in Eve is the moment that thickened my skin to a degree that, like super fast learning, you've been thrown into chaos in a matter of seconds and you don't know what to do. That moment thickened my skin, and then I was able to play like without getting all panicky and flaily and wondering what the heck just happened. So that was good in a way. Costly, but good.
That is something about Eve that is just kind of crazy about the concept that you can, just somebody just knows the game mechanics better than you, and you're just flying around doing your own thing, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I'm in your mission. You're like, and if they're cloaked, you don't even know that they're there, and they see you smart bombing, and they're like, oh, if I get hit by that, these guys are they're gonna get blown up by the police.
That were smart bombing in high sec. We have no excuse. I mean,
that's just.
And then the guy saw us. He exploited it, and he won, and well, good for him.
The pain, man, of Eve is harsh. Like in World of Warcraft or something, when you die, it's like, whatever. I keep all my stuff. I don't, maybe lose experience. You might lose some stuff, but usually it's like, the game is not gonna hurt you really. It's go find a spawn point. Eve Online is like, oh, you get blown up, well, you lose everything that you've got there. Now the game is designed around you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket. You shouldn't have every single bit of ISK that you have pumped into one ship. But that's not how people naturally think. They think dump a lot of stuff into a really cool ship and get it out there and making money for you. And the more you put into your ship, the more money it can make for you. And that's true to a certain degree in Eve. But there's lots of ways of
until you blow
money. Until you blow up, until you feel the pain. And I've come to learn to just throw ships to the wind. Like, whenever I go out in a ship, as soon as I undock, I'm like, okay, this thing's dead. Like, I don't even insure
Oh
anymore.
yeah, you have
because-
to. A good investment is putting your risk into disposable ships, so you can quickly replace them. Now, yeah, don't fly what you can't afford is very true to this day in this game. That's for sure.
Strength and Samson has a good point. Do you use insurance? I don't use insurance at all, even on ships that I know are gonna get blown up, because usually the insurance sucks too much. But I just and of course
I
if
do use insurance,
oh
and
really
then that's a sure way for me. Yeah, that's a sure way for me to know I won't get blown up. You know Murphy's Law. So
ah
when you insure your ship, you will lose money in insurance, but not. Yeah, you won't get blown up.
but yeah no
To this day, it works.
that's a nice little ritual
But
right
as far
there.
as experience goes, yeah, insure your ship. Uh, well, you have to insure it anyway, especially when you fly in bigger fleets, and you know there's going to be a SRP happening.
That's true. That
Then you
helps
can
out.
insure.
Carriers, when you know you're going on a death op, it's always helps to insure a carrier. But of course, it's almost all like
But
you
to
said
this
though.
day, yeah,
It raises your likelihood of living, because it's just, of course, it's like the world's gonna be like, well, I'll let you keep the ship, but you already paid me for the loss, so
yeah, exactly.
awesome.
What was the question? It was, oh yeah, the insurance, right. So yeah, I do insure, not everything, but the bigger ships, and when we go in fleet ops, yeah, I do insure my ships.
Awesome, yeah. So is there any specific projects that you're going to be working on in the future, that you're currently working on at all, or any shoutouts that you'd like to give at this point?
Not really, because as I said, I just got back into it after almost a year of hiatus. So I got to get familiar with the whole thing again. We're moving. We're going to be in a totally different space. I don't even know where yet, because spies. And yeah, so I got to get myself reacquainted with the game again. There's been a lot of changes, the new trick ships, so on and so forth. But what I'm not going to abandon, my next project would be um, to expand my horizon in terms of exploration. Do a little bit. You know, Katya Say, I think her name was. Like, she explored every spot on the map. Neve. I'd like to do that.
That would
Whenever
be a lot
I
of
have
fun.
time. I'll hop in an Astero or you know, some kind of colloquial thing, and go explore a lot further than I've done so far, because I've always limited myself to my direct neighborhood, whatever space I was in. I wasn't going too far, but I like Eve, and I like the different backgrounds so much that I want to expand that and go further and further, boldly.
Definitely, definitely. So are you looking to, so it sounds like you're trying to want to like hit up the different areas of space. Are you thinking about checking out wormhole space, or have you been in wormhole space at all?
I've been in wormhole space. I love wormhole space. I don't like living in wormhole space, but going there and exploring and doing, yeah, I love that. You know, my favorite thing to do is probe scanning.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
So I love finding stuff. Absolutely love finding stuff. So, and my favorite game before I quit for that year was finding Mobile Depot,
Oh.
especially the hard to find ones. Yeah. And blowing them. That was it.
just to get the satisfaction of finding it and getting, you get a little bit of loot, maybe.
A little bit, but Yuuki, that character, has always been the cute little ankle biter type persona. Like, I'm in your space, I'm gonna shit talk you a little bit, and I'm gonna explore and steal your stuff if I have the chance, and you know, that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
When I work, yes.
Oh, have you heard of the new ESS changes where you can? It's a lot easier to go steal stuff from people these
Yes,
days.
yes. Heard of that. Heard of that. Haven't got the chance to experience it yet, but probably soon.
Yeah, I always found that to be an interesting little like ankle biter kind of thing where you can go around and just fuck with the people's cash flow, man. And you know, either they fight you for it or they don't. And you know, if you're solo, I could see it being a lot of fun of cat and mouse, you know.
Yeah, I like that, and it's, I don't know, there's a thrill of being chased. Like people don't know where you are, but yeah, you decloak a little bit, just long enough for them to find you, and then you hop somewhere else. Like, yeah, the cat and the mouse game, I kind of like that. It's fun.
So, is there any things that you would feel would make major improvements to Eve, or are there any things in Eve that you consider to be like this is the pinnacle of what other games need to really bring themselves up to?
Nah, there's no pinnacle in Eve. It always changes and evolves in ways that it's very annoying for a vet. I agree, because they are used in their to be. They have a very small. What I find with vets is that they have a very small comfort zone. And as soon as there's a change, it's like, yeah, blah blah blah. Back in my day, it wasn't like this and that. Um, but the changes they bring to bring more new blood, I guess, to the game is, in my opinion, quite positive. I don't agree with all of it, and there's probably a 50% chance that people will like it or won't like it. You know, Eve is like, it's not like pizza. You can't please everyone with it.
Were you one of the people that was
The
really
biggest
interested in?
change was
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
the biggest change for me that I wasn't too fond of is when they changed the stations to the Astor House, build your own stuff, build your own station type thing.
Oh, why didn't you like
Because
that?
they were, I don't know, it was a huge change, and the opportunity to hide in an NPC station was much smaller. So because of that, I was not too keen of it, but you get used to it. I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you get used to everything they do. Like when they brought the Triglavian ships and Triglavian race, everybody I knew was like, oh, what the heck is this? New stuff, more stuff to learn, more stuff to deal with, really. And they made it sound like Eve was, why do you even play it if it's such an ordeal and if you're not welcoming?
Hello.
Hey, here's my partner, the Eve vet. What was I saying?
I'm not bitter.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the build your own station was
You just felt it
the
was
biggest change that I wasn't comfortable with, because I couldn't hide anywhere unless because those new stations, you have to have access to them. You cannot dock anywhere you want and hide. So that was the big oh no for me, but
yeah, no, I definitely
that's it.
understand that. Yep.
I got over it.
Conquerable stations and stuff got taken out, and yeah. So, were you really big into the walking in state? Like, were you somebody that was a big proponent of wanting walking in stations in EVE Online, or did you have an opinion at all that happened with that big kerfuffle that they had with EVE Online, and the concept of walking in stations?
I liked it at first, and especially, I don't know, it's because I'm a girl or what, but I kind of like the idea of playing doll with my character.
Mm-hmm.
And
which they have a
dressing her up and
little bit
making her,
now, but you don't get to do
having her
anything
walk
with it.
around.
Yep.
But that's it. It got old in a matter of hours, really, because you couldn't go anywhere other than the captain's quarters. You couldn't go outside. Then I was wondering, if they bring this further, what are they going to do? Is that going to become like The Sims or Second Life, or what are our characters going to do? How are they going to interact? That's going to be another whole game in the game, and I don't know how far they could have brought it. So I got tired of it. I stopped playing with the captain quarters and my character, and then they took it out.
No, yeah, I have to agree. I'm one of those people that also, like, when I play Minecraft and I play, you know, other kind of games of, like, I like to build my own stuff. I like to have cool costumes and stuff like that that I have for my characters, and not just the normal Steve costume if you're playing Minecraft or whatever, you know, base, you know, character that they give you. You know, you want to change that stuff up when you're doing these things. And I always found that EVE Online had such a glorious concept with, you know, let's go, you're going to be all about your spaceship. And then they were like, okay, we're going to also add in this walking in stations, but we're going to take all of our time away from the spaceship aspect in order to do this. And then when they were told, no, you can't do that, they were like, oh, we're just going to drop walking in stations, or make it so low of a priority and not really working on it in any way, shape, or form that it was boring. Like you said, I did the same thing. I got into the walking in stations aspect. I liked that I had my captain's quarters. I was like, where does this door go to? Am I going to be able to get into the space station and talk to other people eventually? You know, am I going to be able to make my quarters look differently and have different things that other people, that I can invite people into my quarters and have them see all these cool shit that I found, you know, like the little relic items that nobody gives a fuck about. All of a sudden those could be something inside the game or whatever, you know. Can I go to a bar and hang out with some people and have my character drink like in GTA?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Can we hang out with friends like we do in real life, or like we did in real life anyway?
Samson says we need a corpse room. I agree. Corpse room. I would love to have.
Absolutely.
To check out all the corpses that I have.
The corpse collecting. That reminds me. The corpse collecting was a big thing too. People called me creep because of that, but I had a huge collection of corpses, and that's my partner that gave me he gave me bad habits in that game. It's crazy because he had cans full of corpses too, and I was like, I'm gonna do that too. And now I have cans full of corpses. I've got the high sec corpses, the low sec corpses, the null sec corpses, the war corpses. It's it's a thing. So if that would have been fun to see if the walking station had become, like, if they brought it any further than they did, like I don't know, like a giant freezer full of corpses would have been a fun sight, right?
And I mean, that's Eve, man. That would be epic. Like that, I feel like that could get them, you know, some news coverage. Like that's a front page of Reddit right there, like every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it could have gone well if they would have just kept up on it to a certain degree, but it was a little sad that they went away from it. Now it's gone completely, because same thing. I think a lot of us, all of us, I believe the statistics were out there, was like 10% of EVE or something like that was playing in the walking in stations quarters area.
Yeah, pretty much. That was well, too bad that didn't come to fruition, but I see someone here who wants to jump into the interview, if you're okay with it.
Absolutely. Who do we got here?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know.
Okay.
Stay here.
All right. Hi.
Hello. I can kind of hear you. You're a little quiet, but
I can kind of hear you. You're kind of quiet too, but it's got better headphones.
do a little bit of sharing. Hello.
Yeah. How's it going?
Welcome to Crossing Darkness.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I knew that you might pop in. That's this is a pleasant, not necessarily a surprise, but definitely pleasant to have you on. So it's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
So I hear that you were in the beta.
No, not quite beta. A friend of mine was in the beta, and I started week 1 of EVE.
Oh, cool. So wow, that's an interesting time to jump in, is like right at the very, very beginning, outside of beta though, like without having been a beta tester. And you've kept with it the entire time.
Well, had some time off here and time off there, but for the most part, yeah, I've been grinding away. And I was lucky in the beginning. I was with a group of guys, and we all had our own companies. So the the economy of Eve and the market and all that just sort of fell into our laps because we all ran companies. So we gave her worked hard, and we ended up lucky with the lottery a little bit too when that finally came around. But yeah, when we started, no one had battleships. You're sitting in the frigate and mining, and had a buddy, and he'd read a book in his frigate every now and then, push a button and that kind of thing. But there was no battleships. When they did finally come around, another one of my buddies, he was one of the very first battleship losses in Eve. He was like, yeah, it's like, okay, sell everything, got the battleship, all right. And then he went on autopilot, and got blown up by a bunch of cruisers.
They're like, ooh, I've never seen a battleship before. This is gonna be awesome. And this is before kill nails.
He died fast. Yeah.
So,
it's
what are some of the things that keep you coming back to Eve? What's the thing that kind of caught you, or what's the thing that you feel makes you somebody that's been playing Eve for 20 years almost now?
Oh, it's a social aspect of it. Especially when you first get going, I'd never ever played a game that could get, you've got a ship that you've worked so hard for. It's not like, other games. It's like, oh no, I died. Well, I'll just, wake up over here, repair my gear, and go back at it. It's like, no, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Eve will get your heart going faster than any other game you've played, that's for sure. Especially if you're flying something fancy for the first time, and all of a sudden you find yourself tackled or whatnot. But myself, I've been playing for a long time. I'm still learning PvP. You think by now I might have it down. It's like, well, all the basics and whatnot is rolling around there. It's like, I could probably spot out verbatim in this situation, do this and that. When you're actually in the situation, it's completely different. Just like Yuuki still is, sometimes you get into a combat situation, it's like, I gotta move the mouse.
Oh, I know that feeling. I get that feeling with an Atron. Like, and I thought that I had some skills to a certain degree of I was like, oh, I've got like 200 some odd, solo kills or whatever. I feel like I'm like pretty decent at Eve. But then all of a sudden I see anything outside my, like a Merlin shows up outside the Plex on my D scan. Is he gonna come in? Is he gonna come in? Is he gonna come into my Plex? Is he gonna come and play? Is he gonna come and play? I don't know. Am I gonna win? Am I gonna die? I don't know. And all of a sudden he shows up, and I'm like, I should do something. There's stuff to do, I bet. Oh, that's right.
that includes dying.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I leveled up. I'm in the station.
Oh man, yep.
I've spent a lot of time in 0-0 and done, a lot of logistics. I used to run way back in the days of ISS. I'm not sure how far back you go, but when a lot of stations being built were first started, they would you could buy shares in the station, and they would have profit sharing and whatnot. And that was a corporation called ISS, International Space Stations. They went around and they built a lot of the stations in 0-0, and it was funded basically through crowdsourcing and whatnot. You would buy shares in it and whatnot. When the shares are sold, we build it, put it up, and you get profit share. So I ran a chain of 60 some POSs keeping sub, because at the time it was, how many POSs you had up, you got your sub, which held the security for your station.
Yep.
Yeah, even back then, it's like, there's major stations that I laid the egg for and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now they've turned into faction Fortizars. Anything that got laid an egg. I'm guessing you weren't able to like the corporation group you're with in control of any of the faction Fortizars that you originally laid an egg for?
Oh,
or
no,
were
no,
you...
that way back, and they're long gone. But there was we had our own defense corporation in the alliance, eh? And so I've got 3 freighters full of stuff to go put up a station, and these guys are supposed to be my security team, like my escort for these freighters. Big, slow-moving, expensive targets. And I couldn't get a hold, and they were dragging their ass, and I had friends back then in Bob. That was back in their heyday. Hey, that's when Bob just went around. Doesn't matter what if you're moving and you weren't part of Bob, you're dead. And everyone kind of knew that. It's like, Bob's here. Fuck, dock up. Excuse my language.
No, not a problem.
But so, and I had friends that were in Bob because we're in our own. Like I said, when we first started, we were a group of friends that all knew each other in real life, and then WoW came up and sort of sucked a lot of them off. And I was lucky enough to inherit most of their accounts, so I've got 7 accounts that are from week 1 of Eve.
Oh wow.
so that was kind of cool. But anyway, some of them had gone to Bob in the meantime, so it's like I gave them a call and said, like, I've got to do this. I want to hire you guys, for an escort. I don't care if they're blue, white, gold, green, anything. Anyone comes around, they're dead. They're like, yeah, we could do that. It was the smoothest freighter run I have ever had in Eve. I never saw anything. They had a half a dozen kills because they were like 2 jumps out in every direction and whatnot, eh? But as far as the freighter pilot, I didn't see a thing. And I told the guys in Corp, it's like, hey, wait, doesn't matter if you're blue to me or whatnot, they're gonna kill you. There we go, op success. If we would have had our guys do it, fine. We could have lollygagged. But it's like, no, I got pissed off. It's like, okay, we're moving this. I don't care who it is, kill them.
That's awesome. That is something that I feel like you really can only get in Eve. Like, it's hard to get that kind of concept of, like, what other game are you going to be moving, a shit ton of stuff worth a whole bunch that you have to hire out a mercenary group, or even if it's your buddies, to come out and protect you on your run from one point to another in the game. Like,
yeah.
Just ridiculous. Like, but that's Eve. That's the beauty of it. That's the stories that can come from it.
And then you've got you can fit dollar value. Like way back when Eve was starting up, people, that was their living, was making ISK and selling ISK, and that was how they paid their rent. They played Eve. That was back when you could still sell Eve on websites or whatnot. There was lots of websites that sold currency from all kinds of games, and Eve was right up there. I did actually buy ISK a couple of times, but then I got temporary ban from CCP. Like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. because well, especially now, I wouldn't chance it, because
now you can do it through Eve. I mean, you just give Eve your money, and they'll take it. Which they kind of have been, they kind of did that for a while, where it wasn't ISK that you could pay for, you're gonna give money to Eve and get a Plex, and then you can sell the Plex inside of the game. And so that's the best way. If you've got a bunch of money and you want to just throw it at Eve, that's the safe way to do it. If you go through some other third-party website, you're gonna get a ban, if not permanently. Yeah, so you gotta be careful.
Well, after playing for so long and whatnot, and especially having a little bit more industrial background and whatnot, it's like there's been a couple of times where I figured out, it's like, man, if I could sell all my Eve stuff for the cash equivalent, I could do a lot. I think the last time I checked it a few years ago, it would have been equivalent to over 100,000 US for all my Eve stuff and whatnot.
Holy shit!
Like, oh well, just keep playing with it.
Hey, well, yeah, you got $100,000 sitting on that'll, it'll only get, just like a stock, it'll only get better as it goes. or it'll go down, you know,
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
well,
everything else.
well, I've got a lot of older and rare items, and they just keep appreciating over time, so that's fine too. But
Yeah, that's pretty
it's a
cool.
fun game.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, cheers to playing for. So I've been playing for about 15 years now. But 2006, 2005 is when I got back into Eve. I played in the beta for just like a little bit. But yeah, definitely. I have to say that just the crazy stories that come out of Eve Online are the reason why I'll always come back. I'll never leave this game because I'm going to read some news article. I'm going to, read on Reddit the different things that are going on because there's always some kind of crazy story that's going on with the players. I've never read anything about what the players are doing in Warcraft, or World of Warcraft, and I don't think I ever will because it doesn't seem like that would be
You're
entertaining
not
at all.
going to have a battle like the size of some of the big ones that they have in Eve. It's like, yes, there was hundreds of thousands of dollars cash equivalent blowing up. Yeah, you're not going to hear that in WoW. It's like, yeah, well, I died. I went to repaired my stuff and went back on another raid. Oh,
Yep. Yeah, and when I died, or we failed, all of us failed, and you get the Leroy Jenkins, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
That is the one thing I'll always know is the Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah,
of
that is
something.
one thing that WoW was awesome for is Leroy Jenkins.
But if that happened in Eve, that would have actually hurt those guys. It wouldn't have just made them all very upset. Can you imagine somebody pulling a Leroy Jenkins with a Titan in a Titan fleet? That was like, oh, I'm just gonna warp all of us on top of the enemy and say fucking Leroy Jenkins, and all of a sudden everybody like freaks out on like you would have like real uproar. Like the people that were getting Leroy Jenkins in WoW, I'm sure that afterwards there might have been some unhappiness or even banning or whatever, but there's no way that they would have got upset like if you would have done that to Titan pilots.
Yeah. On the other hand, the Leroy Jenkins stuff happens on an extremely regular basis in Eve. It's like, okay, no one jumped. Did someone say jump? Happens, I'm sure, every 2 minutes in Eve, if not more.
Oh yeah, when it's somebody who pointed out in chat here that when the bridge and the jump buttons were right next to each other, that was. Not a purposeful Leroy Jenkins, but it's going anyways.
Yeah, like talking about Titans. I missed being on the Steve kill by half an hour. It was the first Titan kill in Eve. I was, however, on TFH Agony for the second Titan kill. So I haven't ever lost one, but I built one, and then our area got overrun, so a whole Titan's worth of components got sent to asset safety. And then I finally got into another area, built another one, and then the alliance that I was in just really wasn't big enough to do much with Titans, so it's like, yep, more or less built two. I haven't really done much with them, other than every now and then shoot court mates or whatnot, eh? But it's like, what are you going to do if you don't have the support? You can't really bring it out and play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did. I did used to have a screenshot of Shrike in his avatar mining, with his full readout of his fitting readout, all his mining lasers and mining upgrades and whatnot in his avatar. That was awesome. back in Delve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else? Like before they had the NPC battleships weren't a thing when we started. The big cruisers were 60,000 cruiser. So back then your first million was a big deal. Now you can follow someone salvaging and make that in no time, or if you're out in 0-0, shoot one rat and you can get a million easy enough.
Yeah,
that was a little bit different.
I remember. Even in 2006. If you were, a newer player that didn't have somebody that really was, knew how to make their money and stuff and was just messing around with still level, group level 4 missions, they would get a group together because they couldn't do it solo yet. And I remember my first million. I mean, I feel like it was like a month or so into the game, and I remember being like, because I mean, I probably had made more than a million at that point, but I never had a million in my
You gotta,
wallet.
well, you have to buy the learning skills and whatnot and have the cash for that.
Right, so you're like
Back when they
spending
still had
all
the,
of this money, and you never get to a million. I remember getting a million isk from like one. I found like an item that was worth like a million isk, and I sold it. And I was like, I'm gonna buy so many skill points with this, or not skill points, but skill books. Yeah, skill books, so I can start trading stuff. I was like, this is awesome. And then now I think of a million isk, I'm like, what? What's that? I only count in millions actually in Eve, so that's like the lowest value that I will even consider a value now in Eve.
Yeah. Oh, too, back then the training queue, you had to be pretty on top of your game because you couldn't stack up a bunch of skills. It's whatnot. It's like, okay, my training's going to be up at 4:32 a.m. I have to be up at 4:32 a.m. It's like, what another skill on?
I remember that was a very I feel like it was only a year or two after I got into Eve, so I think it was like 2006, so I got in 2006 mainly with my main the guy that I fly around all the time now, and I feel like it was a year or two that I had to deal with that, where it was like you had to wake up at midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning, in order to make sure that you get that skill training, or just stay up till that point. Because if you didn't, you had like 6 hours of skill training that wasn't going to happen. You had 24-hour queue. You set your queue, and that was it. And you could go over it. You could put that one skill over it, and that's it. But that was the only way to manipulate the system a little bit. And you got maybe, in the beginning, you got like, what, an extra hour. Like, ooh.
Yay! And then too, starting when before they had all the stations and whatnot, we had it was either 19 or 27 jumps out from the nearest station out in 00, and we'd sort of built our own station by anchoring giant cans. So that was our hub. And then to go back to Empire, because there were no stations around. So to get into Empire it was a big deal.
I remember
taking the load to Empire.
having a can, living out of a can. I don't think anybody will ever do that again because of MTUs and stuff like that. But like the way that the game has changed. But I remember very distinctly having a system where there was no station or anything there. I would rat there and I collected every loot that I could get, because I thought loot was very, very important. Now I don't loot a wreck unless I PvP it into the ground, and then I'll go loot your wreck, that's for sure. Or if it's a faction spawn or whatever, there's some special loot that I'll go out there and grab, but I don't care about anything else. When I was ratting in 0.0, blow it all up, go to the next place. Somebody wants to salvage and take all that stuff, all the power to you. I'm making more money killing people. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting living out of a can back in that was my first adventure out into 0.0 as part of Interstellar Alcoholic Conglomerate. Just before they got into the war with Fix and Mick Fix and the first, it was either I want to say that's the second Great War that happened, because I think the first one, I don't think I was involved in the first one. I believe I was only involved in the second one, but I can't remember too much because all I remember is just McFix fighting and kicking and screaming at us, with us in AAA just trying to fight them off at right at Fat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much stuff has changed over the years, but yeah, I always get a chuckle out of all the tears. It's like, oh my god, you're changing this. It's like just another change. You adapt and carry on. It's not gonna. The one change that I didn't like is when they had the local blackout. Like, well, if I wanted to go live in a wormhole, I'd go stay in a wormhole. It's local's a big part of your overall security.
Yep.
The other thing with that is I find 0-0 safer than Empire. You know, you've got the local. If someone comes in and they're not blue, you know, either they're, you know, you're either going to try and shoot them or they're going to try and shoot you or try not to get shot by you. Whereas in Empire, it's like you don't know who's coming for you.
Right. Yep.
It just comes out of the blue. You know, you've got some corps and whatnot, but most of the corps that do that, they've got, you know, alt or noob corps people that are their eyes and stuff like that. The other thing too that comes with years of losing ships is, you know, I'm wealthy enough that there isn't too much I can't fly and afford to lose. That just comes with, you know, literally decades of earning and putting it aside and investing and reinvesting. But if someone does a good gank, it's like, you know, I can appreciate it. Like I had the first time I got, I remember I think it was a jump freighter, and they had it timed so well. It was impressive to die to them. You know, I had scouts out ahead, whatnot, so I was doing my due diligence. I knew there was shit going on, and you know, I jumped. It was the jump going into Empire, and they lit a Sino and Titan bridged in a fleet, and they jumped with me and tackled me, and I was gone. It was like, that was smooth. I could appreciate the logistics going to that. It was, you know, basically a pipe bomb for a jump freighter, but I love watching pipe bomb videos too. It's like, oh, that's just a thing of beauty.
Pipe bomb videos are pretty awesome.
Especially if you get the audio of the guys that are being killed. It's like, yeah,
that's even better.
Anyone survive? Anyone survive?
Oh man, that's super cool. So we are coming up a little bit past an hour here. So I feel like we're gonna good point to kind of start wrapping up here. But I definitely feel like I want to get you guys back on at some point and definitely talk some more Eve. I feel like this has been some really good rapport and really, really great stuff. And I really want to hear more about the old days of Eve Online.
Well, right up. If you've got questions, you know, that's rattling around somewhere in there. I'm getting old and decrepit. But, you know, that's a lot of Eve. It's an old man's game for the love part. You don't find too many. I've been in corps. Like we're in our 50s, and we've been in corps where, you know, we're almost the young ones.
Yeah, no, that's.
Yeah, it's amazing. There are people that are like uber old that play this game.
Grandma's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, I thought I was one of the oldest male players in the game, but it's not true. I mean, there's a lot of elderly people that play.
I could see this being a game that, I mean, especially the market manipulation and stuff, like the building of stuff. Like, you don't have to be on the ball, click, 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 you know, doing tons of stuff that you need to do in a lot of other games. This is a pretty chill game. Like, I can't wait to be 80 years old and playing Eve Online. I honestly that will be really interesting. I really hope that we can get it to where I'm 80 years old and I'm like, yeah, I've been playing Eve since I was in my 20 years old. You know, I was a little boy, like I was in the beta, and I don't even know. You don't even know what I'm talking about at all. You don't even know what a battleship is, because you think the battleship is a starting ship. That's not the starting ship. It's a fake.
No. Here's your Imicus.
Back in my day, we flew through systems both ways before we could cross them. Or actually, it was
none of this warp to zero.
Oh, warp to zero, and so I was only a very short amount of time of not.
We had to spend years making bookmarks so we could get from place to place.
Or before there was dropping you to the Stargate, they just dropped you in the middle of fucking nowhere, and you just got blown up in the middle of
from the gate. Yeah.
Well, wasn't there, like, before they even dropped? Before that, there was a small time period where they dropped you in the middle of space instead of actually dropping you at the, like, if you'd go to a Stargate, and you jump through it, but instead of going to another Stargate, you just went to a spot in the system instead of to another Stargate in the system. And I feel like that may have only been beta, but I feel like it was
That may have been beta, because I don't remember that in the actual gameplay.
I'm probably misremembering that as something in part of the beta, because the beta I know that sounds like something actually that would be part of the beta, the very like the alpha stages of the beta, because I remember that happening to me, and that must have been my beta character. And the other things that I remember is hearing about it from the Eve Empires or whatever, the book that like talks about all the crazy shit that happened in the beta and all the shit that happened, with up to the Great War, basically. But yeah, no, it's been awesome having you guys on here, and I'll definitely reach out to you guys and see if you guys are looking to do some more interviews down the road. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before I head out, is there any shout outs that you guys kind of want to give to anybody, or any corporations that you're part of, or alliances that you're a part of?
Oh, well, like I say, I started off her as well, and the Bob kind of thing, so it's like, yay, Goons are getting... Anyways, that's just my old Bob coming through. It's like, it's so good to see Goons getting a little handful there. Nothing personal, it's just old and ingrained. I can appreciate a lot of the stuff that they do, but I just as soon see them, take a handful every now and then. They hand out enough.
It's interesting. I party with Goons quite a bit because where I live in Madison, there's a lot of people that'll come here and do a bunch of partying, and so that's how I met Goons. Was I just met them as a bunch of people that were doing crazy parties all the time. I've jumped in and out of Goons here and there, but primarily I'm more of, I love my low-sec life of just independence, running around killing every fucking thing that I see.
You probably got some mic corpses. There have been days where I just leave trails of them around. Oh well.
And what's your in character, your main's name?
Well, that's one question that always kind of bugs me, because I've got all these accounts from first week of Eve, and they all have their specialties. So it's like, it's one's main. But the one that stockpiles all my stuff in Empires or Duel, and that was a buddy of mine. His name is Al. He made the character, and Auduin actually looks like Al. Like, his character actually looks like him.
How do you spell that, Auduin?
Ordule.
Auduin. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Yuuki and Auduin, for coming on to the show here and talking about EVE Online with me. Definitely really enjoyed it, and look forward to talking to you down the road. So before we wrap up here, I'm also going to just throw out a couple more shout outs here that we have for some streamers out there like JoeBane and RDB. Check out their podcasts, they're not their podcasts, their Twitch channels. I'm going to throw those into chat here real quick. And
Game Nation?
I will also, what was that?
Game Nation.
My Twitch handle is Dame Nation.
Dame Nation, yes.
DME Nation. But I don't do anything Eve related on my.
Yeah, no, and
so I don't know if it's relevant.
I mean, it's relevant. It's you.
My last word to you would be, may the loot fairy good to you.
How do you so it's
and I hope we get to talk again.
https www.twitch.tv/ and how do you say your Twitch channel?
EAME.
EAME.
Dame Nation. EA Dame, as in woman. Dame. That Dame.
Dame_Nation.
D_Nation is what it is?
Correct.
Dame_Nation. EAME.
_Nation. Alright, I'm going to put that into Twitch chat as well. People check that out. And I'll also have that on the podcast. When we upload that, we'll include that information inside of the podcast as well. So yeah, check out JoeBane and RDB. They have some really great content that they do on their Twitch channels. Other podcasts as well to kind of check out is if you're interested in World of Darkness kind of stuff, which is a little bit off from what we do, what we're doing right now, but that's our primary thing that we kind of do on the show here. You can check out Twin Cities by Night, Midnight Express, Utilities Muffin Labs does quite a bit of different stuff actually, and World of Darkness, World of Dark Ages podcast, Mage the podcast, and Strength in Gaming also has a lot of different kind of things that they do that's not necessarily World of Darkness at all. Shout outs to Notorious News as well. You can check them out on YouTube. Just look up Notorious News, NOTORAS. Super cool show. It's like 3 minutes long of news that happens in Losec around Notorious. Really, really cool place. News show to kind of check out, and it's like an episode every day that he comes out with and tells you who's died and what's kind of going on. If you enjoy what we're kind of doing here, you can check us out on our Twitch channel here at Golden Age Stories. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget to tune into our Mage the Ascension actual play for Technogate. Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time on twitch.tv/Golden Age Stories. Remember that's Golden Age, or Golden spelled Guldan. Thank you so much for listening, and you all have a great night.
You as well. Thank you.